Welcome to the planning board meeting for Monday, May 20th, starting at 6:01 p.m. We'll start with open forum. Do we have anybody on the board that would like to say anything? No? Okay, all right, we'll just dive right in. Right now we have a number of administrative items. We can move them as a single item, or we can group them all together. Does anybody have a preference? You want to talk about these individually?
I'm perfectly willing to. Well, I think we gotta talk about the ZBA issues.
Okay. All right, let's do that. So first, let's talk about the ZBA case, 2024-11 at 33 Grandview Avenue. I'll put together a nice summary. Pull that back up. From Grandview Avenue. They did not complete the, they didn't fill out the form. Is anybody here for Grandview? Okay. They did not complete the form. So does anybody have any concerns with this? They'd like to discuss?
Paul, what do you think?
I looked at it, it's a replacement of an existing deck that's a little bit too close to the center line of the street for the front setback. And it looked like it was about 6 feet of encroachment into that front setback. The new deck's a little bit bigger than the old deck, but since it's just a replacement of a deck, it won't be anything really new or too voluminous. So I didn't have any issue with that. I recommend the board should recommend approval to the Board of Appeals.
Did it appear that there was going to be additional nonconformity?
It lined up with the other sides, so my second paragraph, since the proposed expanded deck will line up with both the easterly and southerly walls of the existing home, there will not be an increase in the non-conforming front setback. Based on that, the expansion won't be more detrimental to the neighborhood, in my opinion.
But there's going to be more volume in the setback area.
So, yeah, and so what I did note was there was, the application wasn't really complete, didn't say basic information, how big is the existing deck, how many square feet?
Yeah.
How many square feet is the proposed deck? So on two of the sides, it kind of lined up with the house, so it didn't change that, but it's that front setback where there was a 6-foot encroachment, and I think it might have been a little bit further.
And I just don't. I don't want to get too deep in this because obviously I'm going to deal with it later, but how can we recommend approval to the ZBA if the application is incomplete?
The Board of Appeals could direct the applicant to complete the application.
Which is, I suspect is going to happen.
And continue the hearing until you have that completed, or what usually happens, as you know, is that would be a question for the project engineer or the builder. And they could hopefully provide that.
Okay, thanks.
Is that something that would make sense for us to recommend, or do we just say, we would recommend, the person who's expected you to ask them to complete? Anything what it would be that the ZBA could say?
I have every expectation that ZBA will say.
All right, and any other thoughts in that?
All left.
All right, any other thoughts, comments on 33 Grandview Avenue? Do we have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to defer to the ZBA, noting that the application is in partial.
do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All right, we'll call for roll call votes. All those in favor of deferring 33 Grandview Avenue to ZBA, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstains? All right, so that's 4 yeses and 1 abstention. All right, next up is 50 Washington Street. This is, another, the applicant's petition to ZBA for a special permit. This is a non-conforming lot, however, the property is zoned from, it was a hair salon and it now the potential new owner is, are you here for? Thank you. Hi. The intended purchaser is requesting that it be, that the use for an interior design firm be allowed in this property.
This is limited ones.
If the building is, yes, yeah,
Yeah, those.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so Victoria Lloyd is interested in the interior design. So, do you have any questions, thoughts, discussion? We have the applicant here, if anybody. Something specific. One thing that Paul did recommend was that it doesn't look like there are parking stalls delineated, and that might be a recommendation that might be a recommendation we would consider asking you to stripe the parking lot.
So, yes, which we totally intend to do, but we can't get the financing without a special permit group. So we will, so I just don't know if it's gonna be a little bit permitting be contingent under the striping. Or would it just be,
Well, we would make a recommendation to the ZBA. The ZBA actually withholds, depending if that's actually done or
I think they'll just.
them to do it. Yeah.
it's sort of like catch 22, we can't do it till we're in the building.
Right.
So our interest as well.
Yeah.
I suspect there's gonna be an analysis of whether there's sufficient parking for that proposed new use.
I think it's been done as
Good.
but
It's been determined there is, I think the requirement was 2 and there's enough for 4 parking spaces.
I think it's straightforward.
Would you accept something?
I was just gonna ask a procedural question about the ZBA. Do they condition like we do for like a subdivision approval or something like that? Would they
Yeah, we
condition-
see condition.
Any other discussion? I'm sorry, guys, we have a motion to a motion for 15 Washington Street.
Make a motion to defer to the ZBA for the special permit. No, I think we can leave that in the say capable applicants, they have some their engineering and planner, if who others.
Okay, do we have a motion? I'm sorry. Sorry, do we have a second?
Second,
All right, any discussion on the motion? No? All right, we'll take a roll call vote to defer 15 Washington Street to the ZBA. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions, passes with 5 votes. Next up, 73 Captain's Hill Road. This is another application or another special one. Thank you for coming. Good luck.
Good luck.
Good stuff. Where was I? This is after this. Applicant is applied for special permit to raise and rebuild a pre-existing non-conforming accessory garage structure. Our town planner is suggested that the project, it doesn't look like the project will be more detrimental. He would recommend that he can talk about perhaps requiring a landscaping plan since some trees will be taken down to do that work. Do we have any thoughts or discussion here? Questions?
is there anybody here on
Yep.
that? Talk about
Yeah, sure. So the lot is located in the residential,
Excuse me, would you just state your name and
Sorry.
your?
Nick Courtney with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. I'm the applicant's representative. But this property is located in the residential compatibility zone districts. It has an existing building coverage of 16% of the lot. And the existing front yard setback for the garage is 23.6 feet to the property line and 41.1 feet to the center line of the road. Like I said, the applicant plans to raise and rebuild the garage, and we plan on holding the building coverage and the front setback as well. So keeping that non-conformity the same.
The only question I had when I looked at it was whether you're simply putting it on the same footprint.
No, we're not, we shifted it a little bit. Do you want to see the plan?
I have it.
Oh, you have it? Okay. Yeah, I think we pulled it back into the side a little bit, so. But like I said, it still remains in that same. Setback distance.
Any other questions? Okay. Do we have a motion to move 73 Captain's Hill Road?
I make a motion to defer 73 Captain's Hill Road to the ZBA with the comments from the planner as described in his report.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Any discussion? All right, so we'll take a vote, with to vote to defer 73 Captain's Hill Road to the ZBA. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Abstain? Sorry, is that? Aye, okay, 5 ayes, Emily, thank you. That passes. All right, next up, we need to discuss board signatures to be reported with registry of deeds, and this is required so that, so this makes everybody official with the registry of deeds.
Yeah, so when you sign plans, they know it's you. Basically, we have 3 new members, so we gotta do a new one.
Is there any motion that or anything we need to do? We'll just sign up.
No, I just have to sign it.
Okay, I'll just make sure everybody does that before we leave.
is that the same deal with the letter, the draft signature? The letter to the registry?
Yeah, it's just an updated one to
Okay.
the members.
Thank you.
Do the 3 of us, the existing members already sign as well, or just the minutes?
Yeah, I think everyone does.
We sign
I
it?
have your names on there.
Okay, all right, great, pretty similar. All right, and then the minutes, I have to make a motion, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of May 6th?
I wasn't here either.
Someone,
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any, do we have a second?
Can we second?
Did I second? You can second, I think.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, good luck.
We actually had talked to Emily and Paul about this before everybody came in, and there was a section on the minutes about the conversation about MBTA communities, and a couple things that we did find out. There was a discussion about whether or not the units all had to be rentals, and it turns out they don't. They just have to be multifamily. They do not have to be affordable. So Emily's just gonna update the minutes to reflect that. And that was a good conversation to give us a chance to clarify that.
Yeah, the law doesn't require any affordable housing at all.
Exactly. But there was a little bit of, yeah, so we thought we'd clarify that. And then the second thing, Emily, I think there was a note in there about somebody who owned Island Creek or had property in Island Creek. I think she might have actually owned, if she had owned Tarpon or she owned property, I think it was Tarpon. But otherwise, any other comments? Otherwise, you did a great job. That was a long conversation. Thank you.
So. At that training, the open meeting training at I put it to town council whether people who weren't in attendance could vote on the meeting, could vote on the meeting minutes. And the suggestion was no.
Okay,
So I don't think you have a quorum
I was gonna say, I
to
don't think.
vote on these
People,
meeting
right.
minutes.
So you made a motion to promotion, but right, there's just one.
Yeah.
Wait, you were there. There's 2. Who else was? Scott and Lauren. We were the 4. Okay, so then we don't just do it next time.
You
Okay,
just
we'll
have
just do
to
it next
keep
time. Yeah, just kick it down the road. All right, so next up, we'll open up the planning board and tree warden consolidated public hearing about the scenic road and public shade tree removal for 333 Franklin Street subdivision at 6:15.
You need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we need a motion to open the public meeting.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. We will open the public hearing for the scenic road and public shade tree removal. Oh, wait, we have to vote. Yes, okay. Any discussion on the motion?
Motion to open.
Correct, yes. No, okay, so we have to vote now, but yes.
Hey,
Okay, all those in favor of opening the public hearing?
aye.
Okay, nays, abstentions, all right, 5.
And then you either have to read the public hearing notice or waive the reading with a vote. Make a motion to waive the reading of the public notice for the.
Thank you. Any discussion? Discussion?
Yeah, if you're gonna wait, I think you should ask the applicant whether they'll agree with.
Okay, thank you. Do you agree if we waive the
Reading
The
of
public
the
hearing.
public hearing notice.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Wayne.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate that. It's only the second or third one that I've done now. So no discussion, call for a roll call vote on waiving the meeting, the description of the open with the reading of the public hearing notice. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions, pass 5. All right, so we will go ahead and open up the meeting. Remind me how we do this. Do we bring the applicant up to have the conversation, or do we, this is our first tree hearing in what,
16 years?
Yes.
I'd invite the applicant to, explain what he's proposing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So the application is to remove 3 trees and 60 feet of stone wall for the entrance of the new road off of Franklin Street, and to replace the 60 feet of stone wall in the existing driveway. The trees need to be removed for the installation of the road that's already been approved. So we're here for this forum. Any questions? Or, I mean, it's one pine tree, it's 40 inches wide, it's in tough shape, and there's 2 cedar trees about 10 to 12 inches wide that are also seeing better days, but the notice is.
They weren't the best looking trees. in
No.
there.
And yeah, they weren't, and we posted the notices to the trees last weekend. So that's the presentation.
Thank you.
So Emily, I think there was a revised notice in there so that it got the 3rd tree.
Yeah.
And so we're all good on that.
Thank you.
Does the board have any questions we'd like to ask about? Discussion. Hey, Paul, was there something that you wanted to share?
Unfortunately, the tree warden could not be with us tonight. I did communicate back and forth with him via email. And he indicated that, he understood why the trees were being proposed to be removed from the driveway. And the alteration of the wall for the driveway, the new home. He said he didn't see anything worth saving, and he seemed to be commenting on the health of the tree. I know when I was there, I saw employees of Matty vines climbing up that triple pine tree, which was a big pine tree. So the tree warden couldn't be here, but he indicated that he had no issue with those trees being removed. Having said that, I know it's been several years since the board's held one of these hearings. And I've been involved with them in a few different towns. Most communities ask to have some kind of compensation or mitigation for the removal of public shade trees. And the pine tree was a big old tree, and the cedar trees were a little bit smaller. But those are public shade trees that have some value. And so what I'm gonna recommend is that if the board does vote to authorize the removal of those trees, that the board include as a condition that the owner replace 3 trees. They really can't be the same size, but they shouldn't be tiny trees, but maybe 2.5, 3-inch caliber trees. Somewhere within that area of Franklin Street. And the species of trees and the location should be worked out between the owner and the tree warden.
Fair? Makes sense to me. Any questions?
Yeah, I just, I want to bring up a topic
and I know these are classified as shade trees, and that's the concern, it's public shade, public way. But I know that we've also heard some conversation, from butters in the area about, the hydrography, the area, the water. And the trees do serve a function also of absorbing water from the land. So I don't know if this bears on the question of the species of tree, pine trees rapidly growing, cedars, this things are slower. But there's some water uptake that's happening there on the roadway due to these trees. So I don't know if that bears on what a recommendation might be for replacement trees in terms of having similar impact on groundwater in the area. Trees do drink a lot of water, and I'm very surprised to hear numbers on gallons of water a day they can drink. And as we now know, they also play an important role in combating climate change, and they sequester carbon. And the shade has value in reducing heat. So I wouldn't be able to tell you what kind of tree drinks more water than others, but it's important to note that they provide these additional functions in addition to casting shade on the public street. And the amenity, the beauty of our tree lined streets.
Tree warden would be able to provide that guidance, right?
Hopefully.
Any other questions? Do we, yes,
I have a question. So the three trees that would need to be replaced, would they be in the right of way? Or the stone wall is kind of in the way there. Like if you put it on the stone wall, between the stone wall and the road, there's not enough earth. Put it on the other side of the stone wall, it's kind of off the right of way. So how does that work as far as guidance?
I was punting on that, leave it to the tree warden. The trees don't necessarily have to be on your property or right in front of your property, and ideally they would be in the public right of way. It's been so long, I know that sometimes they are planted on private property on the other side of the right of way. And I think that would be plan B, but hopefully between you and the tree warden, somewhere on that stretch of road, the right of way would be, there'd be enough room within the right of way where it's not gonna cause problems for an existing stone wall or push up the pavement. And now with shade trees, they're trying to move away from broad-leafed trees that drop a lot of leaves that can clog up the catch basins and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to defer to the tree warden because he probably understands more about this than I do, or the planning board.
So we asked the applicant to confer with the tree warden, and if they can't come up with an agreement as to trees and what trees go in and where, they can come back here.
Yeah, I in scenarios where they end up on private property, obviously the private property owner would need to consent to that. And so that's what makes it more challenging if it's not in front of your property, if it's somewhere else. So, we can work that out if they're having difficulty figuring it out where things should go.
But if it's on private property, could get cut down.
Oh, if it's in the public right of way, you could also get cut down. You don't know what Eversource is gonna do to protect the power line.
No, that's true, but I mean, to go through the effort of planting a tree on public property, the home gets built, the home gets sold. And a year or 2, 3 years down the road, someone just cut the tree down. So I certainly don't want to throw money at a problem that could ultimately not be
Solution.
a solution to what the town's trying to achieve. I'm absolutely perfectly willing to work with the town warden. I've been out there for the last several months, and it's gonna be challenging to put a tree between the stone wall and the road and have it survive, in my opinion. I'm not a warden, I'm not a tree expert, but that looks very challenging. And the other side seems to be mostly on private land. So I'm open to having the conversation, I'm open to doing that. Perhaps, is there a tree fund, or is there a conservation fund that if we can't come to an agreement that satisfies the town, maybe there's a way of paying into a fund as a plan B, if that were the case? I don't know.
So there are a couple of alternative approaches to this. some communities have, an established donation account that's specified for like a tree fund. And when I asked the, DPW director about that this morning, she said she was not aware that the town had one of those. But she was familiar with them in other communities. The other, option that many communities have their own little tree nursery on, on some town property. The DPW has, maybe purchases smaller trees at a cheaper price, sticks them in the ground for a few years, and then when they're ready to replace, they just take them out of the town nursery. Again, I asked, Sheila, the DPW director, and she said she was not aware that the town had, had any town nursery like that. So that put us into the third option, which was try to work it out between you and the tree warden. The constraint of above ground utilities was mentioned, and that's certainly something that, you don't want to plant a tree that in 10 years, they're gonna have to trim it or neuter it. So that's all part of what needs to be on, it's gonna be an on-site decision based on, judgment.
And the 3 trees that are being removed, we have to hire a crane because they're entangled in the overhead wires already. So again, to satisfy an agreement to put something down that's ultimately might not work. Can, if the tree warden, if there's another scenic area in town that the tree could go into as opposed, I mean, obviously try to do it in Franklin Street, try to do it at the property, but if it seems kind of like we're not giving it a chance, could you put it somewhere else in town?
That gets done, yeah. If there isn't a suitable location in close proximity to where the trees are being removed, then, a more suitable location can be worked out with the tree warden.
I'm amenable to working with the tree warden and solving the problem.
Thank you.
Just another thought, if I may, through the chair. What about toward the back of the property where the detention area is built?
Sure, I'd be open to doing
That
that.
might work.
If that's agreeable to the town, absolutely. I would agree to put them back there. They'd certainly survive a lot better over there.
Guarantee its survival, or nearly guarantee its survival.
Yeah.
Just thought.
Yeah, no, I think that's a wonderful idea, if that's something that is possible, because it is an easement to the town for the maintenance of that area, so.
I'm perfectly
I
fine with
think,
that.
yeah, the intention is to have 3 trees or net somewhere
Three,
else.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that if you could, sounds like if you could work with Warren, that'd be great. And I was gonna suggest with the trees and the overhead power lines, is that something that the power company, that you can work with the power company and have them? No, never mind, you might get going. Yeah.
No, so the trees, no, we have, we gotta wait another, I think, 10 days before we can get a crane, but but licensed tree removal guy with a crane,
Yeah.
working around
Yeah.
wires, live wires, it's
Certification
challenging.
for live wire.
Okay,
But to put another tree in that location, to let it grow up into there, it's eventually gonna get cut down.
yeah,
So,
no, we.
but absolutely, work with the tree warden to, come up with a solution that's best for the town, best for everyone.
That would be great. Is there anybody here from the public that wanted to say something? Nope. Okay. All right, anything else from the board? Well. Okay, do we have a motion? Let's see. Do we have a vote? Go ahead. Yeah.
I just don't wanna have to come back, right? So whatever the motion is,
You and-
between us and the
yeah.
warden, me and the warden, I just don't wanna have to, keep coming back.
so-
Not that I don't like you guys,
Yeah, no,
appreciate what you do,
We
but
understand, so maybe
Yeah.
are we looking for a motion to allow the applicants and the tree warden to work out the removal of removal of 3 trees and planting of 3 new trees? That'd be sufficient.
And specify the size of caliper.
Do we have a motion?
well, are you gonna specify that, or is the tree one?
I was suggesting 3 inches,
3 inches.
a minimum of 3.
All right, so I'll take a crack.
Okay, sure.
I make a motion to approve the scenic road and public shade tree removal at 333 Franklin Street. Subject to the replacement of minimum 3 caliper tree, 3 trees, minimum caliper of 3 inches in locations to be agreed upon by the applicant and the tree board.
We have a second.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, we'll call for a roll call vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, passes 5.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you working through all these details with me.
I understand. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, next up is A&R 2024-02 for 215 and 227 Bay Road. Looks like we have 2 parties here for the same, yes? You're here for something else? Yes, okay, you're here for Bay Road.
I am here for that
Okay,
one.
would you like to?
And by the way, a 36-inch pine can drink about 300 gallons of water a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how many?
When I first found that out, I was totally blown away.
Yeah,
It's
I would
amazing.
imagine that can deciduous trees drink more than that?
The information I was given by the arborist is the pines drink more in this part of the country than there.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
So Mark, are you just moving this so that there's that there's enough square footage for 2 buildable lots? What?
We are taking parcel A, if you take this line, everything on the left belongs to 227, okay? So we're taking a portion of that, okay, and giving it to 215. That's all.
Okay.
What Danny's probably gonna do is relocate the existing, that we should have labeled this a barn instead of garage. He'll probably relocate that here. So. We haven't touched frontage. We haven't done anything except area. This is actually a non-conforming lot, and we made it more conforming by giving it the.
That I noticed.
So where's the property line right now? Is it just section A that's new?
Right here, Jennifer. Where it says parcel A, this property line right here will go away. So parcel A becomes contiguous with 215 Bay Road.
And Morton's whole way is private?
Yes.
Maybe, I just didn't understand the drawing. That's not. What's Standish Street?
You've got Morton Whole Way, okay? There's plans on record at the Registry of Deeds that refer to this as Standish Street
Okay.
and Morton's Whole Way,
Oh,
which
okay.
we put underneath AKA.
Yeah,
Okay.
Are they just paper streets or is Morton whole way a paved road?
Actually, you could probably get down to right about here. But this has been taken over by a butter's lawn, basically, at this point. But again, it exists on plans at the Registry of Deeds, so we can't ignore it.
So are these 2 different property owners?
Well, the legal entities are different, is Dan and his wife Ann Murphy, deeded owners of this parcel. This parcel is New England Environmental and Consulting, owned by Dan Murphy. So,
And the 2 Dan Murphys are the same person?
yes,
Why? I'm curious, why are they doing this?
he wants more area. Okay, when he bought this parcel.
Yeah.
It has an excess of area, so he eventually will sell this. Okay, but he wanted to create a parcel A, okay, so he could have more land for his lot. And probably eventually will move this barn on that parcel A.
and his lot is, the lot on the right is the currently non-conforming lot, which will then
Correct.
become conforming.
Correct.
How is the lot on the right non-conforming?
I think it's just a
Doesn't
couple
have-
feet under.
Doesn't have the area requirement of 40,000
It
square
was
feet.
39,
Ah.
wasn't it?
It's like 4, 6, yeah, just under.
39,746.
It so keeps lot 2 conforming.
Right.
It's just such an odd shape, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, I have, if I may, Mr. Chairman, some familiarity with this property because Keith brought the historical commission a few months ago. 227 Main Road is structured circa 1700, was moved to that location about 1750. And the barn behind is also vintage 1780 units. So Dan's interest is in preserving the barn. He wants to have that plot at the rear so that he can simply move the structure away from the street and utilize it on his property, redevelop.
Thank you, that helps. Do we have any more questions? Do we have a motion to endorse this A&R for 215 and 227 Bay Road? So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? Call for a roll call vote on endorsing A&R 215 and 227 Bay Road. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Those abstentions, it's 5.
we sign the plan now?
It's down there.
Is that it?
Actually, Emily thinks I might be the only one who can sign it.
Okay, good.
Do you want me to sign it right now?
If you don't mind, that's great.
Copies are there, Emily? Just the one. Just the one.
Well, Paul, it's been a long time since you and I have been here. Yeah,
All right, so Emily, you think I'm the only one who can sign this?
Yeah, you can sign on behalf of this board right now.
I
You just don't have everyone's signature. on
So I just sign my name. Do I need to do like on behalf of or just Kristen Rath?
And you can just sign it.
You still talk to Tony Esposito?
right up until 5 o'clock this afternoon.
You can find us.
I shall.
There you go. Would you like to know over there?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
See you, folks.
Last on the agenda is selection of a planning board member to serve on MBTA Communities Working Group. See, we have somebody from the audience. So do you have a question about this for specific being a member on this MBTA's working group?
I don't know if I'm brave enough to be a member, but I'm very, very interested in the topic and since last week I've been trying to do a bit of research, you know, where this all came from. It just seemed out of the blue for one.
So for tonight's purposes, the only thing we have on our agenda is just the selection of a board member here. So we're not able to actually talk about the MBTA Communities
Okay.
Act itself.
Okay,
But there is a little bit of information in our minutes, if you want to go from last week, because we did talk about it then, 2 weeks ago.
I listened to that last night actually on YouTube. Yeah, I listened to it and I found the whole thing very interesting. So
Yeah,
that's
so
why I'm kind of hanging out tonight.
if you are interested, please feel free to fill out a talent bank form at the town hall. It's online if you're interested in becoming a member of that group.
Okay,
And if you're not interested, but you want to be part of it, those meetings will be public, so you'll be able to attend and
okay,
learn more.
all righty.
Okay, all right, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for all your hard work, everybody.
Thank you. All right, so we get to select a planning board member to serve on the MBTA Communities Group. Does anybody have any discussion about that? Is anybody super interested, super passionate?
Did we select me to be on the Halls Corner?
I don't think, have we selected yet?
I don't think we officially did, no.
So we need to do that, I guess, at the next meeting.
Right.
We'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
So. I've been litigating these MBTA community sites. Issues already. And as much as I am gonna regret this. I think I should do it.
Okay,
I know a lot about this.
well, go for it. I'm very comfortable with that. I mean, if that's what you would do. Is anybody else interested as well?
I'm very interested,
Yeah.
way more qualified than I am to actually.
No, Ted, you do it, because I'd rather do Hall's Corner.
Oh,
I'd rather do the Hall's Corner group, but if nobody's gonna step up. Um,
well, what would you rather? Do?
Hall's Corner,
Okay,
because I think the MBTA communities thing is not gonna resolve very quickly.
yes, yes,
There's multiple pieces of litigation.
Yeah.
You're hearing a lot of stuff on the news.
yes.
Marshfield amended their bylaw and then Marshfield went through the whole process of coming up with a bylaw amendment, brought it to town meeting and got shut down.
Milton,
Yeah, Milton's getting sued.
there was another. town-
Holden got sued.
I'm sorry, Andover that rejected it recently.
Holden got sued. They flat out said they weren't gonna do it.
Well, one of the reasons that Paul shared this map with us is to show us that actually there are a lot of communities that have been compliant. So what we're hearing in the news though is people that aren't. And you're seeing a whole different level, I'm sure.
No, lots of communities, but compliance, all compliance means, right, unless you're a transit community.
Yeah.
All compliance right now is you've designated some areas in town that are sufficiently robust that it works through the spreadsheet calculus to provide enough potential housing. But the law doesn't require any housing to get built.
Right.
And lots of
You just need a
communities,
plan, right?
You have to provide the zoning.
you had to provide the zoning and then you gotta amend the bylaw. So most of the compliant communities have provided some districts that would permit sufficient numbers of multifamily units to comply with the requirements. But that's all they've done. The next stage is, once you get that, you have to amend the bylaw.
Yeah.
To endorse those. To endorse those areas.
Excuse me a second. Do I need to sign something?
I'd probably you to date this.
Oh, I'm so sorry, yes. Yeah, figured that you were back for something that I must have missed. See, what the date, what's the date? May
2020.
Right, thank you.
Sorry for the interruption.
Nope, I'm glad you caught it. All right, thank you. I'm sorry about that.
So most of the communities that are compliant are those that have simply decided where the stuff would go. And still need to amend the bylaws to do it. Some of the transit communities are farther along and they amended the bylaw, like Braintree. But Braintree's plan is being challenged because almost none of the areas that they designated will ever get developed because they're already fully developed. And I just think it's gonna be a mess for a really long time.
So I know we said we weren't gonna talk about this. So,
Well, we're trying to decide.
yes, I totally, yes, you're right. So. I think
Full disclosure. Right?
full disclosure. Yeah, like that.
Scott would like to.
I know.
I can't nominate people that aren't here, right?
All right, well, I think Scott was, Emily, what was he slated to do? The bylaws, I think, right?
Yeah, yes.
All right, so that's. Well, we have a volunteer for each.
Happy to volunteer to do it. And
Okay,
it sounds like, almost a checkbox item at this point. We're putting in the effort to codify and put it before town meeting. And that's really all we can do.
I think you're right.
But they might still wait on you, ask you to come in and share your expertise.
I already had that question asked of me. By the select commission.
Oh, did they? All right, so, do we need to vote on this or just informal?
I'd recommend that the board take a vote to appoint one of the members, recommend appointing one of those members.
Okay, do we have a motion to, approve, recommend a member to be on the MBTA Communities Working Group?
I move to recommend Tag to serve on that.
A second? All right, any discussion? All right, we have a motion to recommend the tag be our representative on the MBTA Communities Working Group. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You're before that, yes, that's 5, anyway, thank you. All right, Paul, anything else? You might have missed or you want to touch on?
That covers the agenda. I provided the board with a status report. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
That was very useful.
No, thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's easy to forget how many things the planning director is involved in.
We get involved in all kinds of things.
Yeah. So thank you, Paul. I'm very grateful you're here. All right, anybody have anything else for? We have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second?
Second.
All right, thank you all for coming.